Welcome back. We continue right here live on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. Still talking Steelers, because even though this felt good, certainly for them today and their fan base, still a lot of work to do. You know, they don't have a half-game lead, 2 games left. Baltimore goes to the Chargers, home to Cleveland. That won't be easy, and the Steelers have to go to New Orleans. So let's start right there. Andrew, there's still a lot of work to be done. If you had to give an advantage right now, Steelers or Ravens, who would it be?
Well, I would say the Ravens. Well, I think the Steelers would have the advantage because they're a half game up. I think both teams will probably lose this week, and I have more confidence in the Steelers beating the Bengals than I do the Ravens beating the Browns. But let me just say this. I don't think Plan B is available anymore. I don't think that wild card spot, I think that's going to go to a 10-win team now. I think the Colts' victory over the Cowboys and the Titans going to New York and winning today makes me feel like one of those 2 AFC South teams is going to finish with 10 wins. So that means it's AFC North or bust for the Steelers. So Saturday night, if the Ravens beat the Chargers, that's going to put a ton of pressure on the Steelers to do something I don't think they can do, and that's win in the Superdome.
Well, they play that game Saturday, Mark, so that's an advantage. You know, they'll know the outcome of it, although they knew the outcome of all the games last week, and they still laid an egg in Oakland.
And, you know, to be honest with you, it is a huge advantage, because I think that was a little bit of why the Steelers played so well on Sunday, is because they knew they were in a situation where they could not lose this game and think that they could make the playoffs. So maybe a little pressure added to them is not that bad. But I'm not about ready to say that the Baltimore Ravens are just going to slide into L.A. and beat the Chargers, then play a pretty doggone good team in the Cleveland Browns. I can't believe I just said that. But they got a tough schedule ahead of them as well. So, and I'm not even counting out the Steelers going down to New Orleans and having a good run at that game. The Saints have proved that they're beatable too, coming off of a short week.
But not there, Mark.
Well, I've been there a couple of times. I don't know when the last time they won there. I don't even think they won in the preseason. I know they lost there in, 02 and 08. They lost in the preseason. It's a tough place to play, of course. But the Saints are not invincible like they were 5 weeks ago.
Cowboys showed you how to do it.
You know, I do
that
agree
was
with
in
you,
Dallas.
I understand that, but it's still a routine.
And a short week.
Hey,
we know those Thursday night games are weird for road teams. Big time.
You're absolutely right about the 10-win team. I think the Colts and Titans play Week 17. That's your wild card team.
I'm not convinced. I'm with you, Mark. I'm not convinced that they can't go down there and win a game.
They could lose by 50.
But they can compete. I don't think there's
no,
any
they
reason
absolutely
to think they
can. They absolutely can. The Saints are beatable. I do have a tough time seeing the Steelers run the table at this point, but I don't know. I'm not ruling out the possibility that they go down there and have a halfway.
Well, the good thing is
showing.
they've got the one layup left on the schedule, and that's the Bengals at home.
Yeah, I just think you just can't count on
what
that.
What team went in there and absolutely whipped the Steelers this year?
What's that?
Which team whipped the Steelers this year?
Well, the only team that really handed it to him was Baltimore here. That's a long time ago.
Well, that was just they held the ball.
Well, Kansas City did. Kansas City whipped them
early. But other than that,
no,
Mark,
I hear you. But for my money, the 2 hardest places to play in the NFL right now are Gillette Stadium and the Superdome. You're right about the Saints, but I think they're a different team when they're down there.
All right, listen, I got a minute left before we have to go to the smooth moves. So I just real quick, if James Conner is ready to play this week, Jalen Samuels had a really good game. Mark, what do you do with him? Give me 15 seconds each.
You have to play him, yeah. Of course.
No, I mean, how do you divide the work?
I think you give them. I think first and second down's him. I think Jalen Samuels showed that he's one heck of a third down back, a guy that can catch balls like that, and he showed that in college too. So that's the way I would put it: third down back for Samuels.
Jason?
Yeah, I would use him even more liberally than that. I wouldn't throw Connor back in there 100%. I'd let him ease his way back in. I like what I saw from Samuels.
I'd start with Connor. I'd make him my feature back. Tomlin doesn't seem to have a division of labor these days. It's like one back and one back only. So I'd ride Connor, and if he struggled, I'd go to Samuels.
All right, now it's time to go around the horn. This week's Smooth Moves brought to you by Pittsburgh's largest supplier of the smoothest granite, marble, and quartz countertops, Armina Stone. So we asked each of our panelists, give me a smooth move. Anything in Pittsburgh, whatever in the sports world. So, Andrew, what's your smooth move of the week?
Yeah, I'm going to call this guy out by name. David Elbridge, this jabroni who bet $11,000 on the Patriots, and the football god said, wait a second, here's a Steelers fan that's betting on the other team. Shame on him. I'm happy he lost all that money. He's not a true fan. And so that's my smooth move. Screw you, David Elbridge.
I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Flyers, everyone's least favorite hockey team, and maybe you saw that they supposedly fired their coach and hired Joel Quenneville. Only the Flyers could screw up a coaching search that involves firing Dave Hackstall and hiring Joel Quenneville. I don't understand it. What are you doing? Why are you waiting? Just make the move.
You might have missed this because it happened pre-game, but the Steelers were introduced as a team today. What other team do we know that does that? The New England Patriots. You think that was Mike Tomlin flinging his thumb at Bill Belichick? I think quite possibly right there, and that was to my little opposite of George Costanza. He did everything backwards, just like Cowher did in the 05 playoffs. They won the Super Bowl. Stick with it, Tomlin.
All right, that means setting off fire alarms too. Go get it done.
Maybe he should change his challenges. I'd like to switch there.
Those are the smooth moves of the week, brought to you by Armina Stone. And they feature Pittsburgh's largest indoor stone gallery of granite and marble countertops imported from all over the world to give you the smoothest ones in your area. Score a touchdown with new granite countertops from Armina Stone. Next.